So this unit is all about one variable equations. And the way this also plays into is by geometry. So in geometry, we can find angles of missing triangles and missing lines. So the first one we're going to talk about is the sum of the measures of any triangle. Any triangle's angles add up to 180 degrees. So if you were to cut all the sides of a triangle, you were to add them together. So this side of the triangle is right here. You put it together. This side of the triangle, X, is right here. And then 37 is right here. If you were to see that, it adds up to a straight line. The straight line is 180 degrees. So the way that you could solve that is you take 25 plus 37 plus X and you equal 180. Well, you can combine like things. So we can combine our like degrees. So we get 62 and we subtract 62 from 180, and that will tell us how much X is. And we can plug X in to see if it works. 118 plus 27, or 25 plus 37 is 62 plus 118. Is that 180? It is. So let's look at this. Write an equation you can use to determine the angle of R. So since we don't know what R is, that is our X. So we know that triangle angles add up to 180 degrees. So 29 degrees plus 108 degrees plus X number of degrees, which we don't know, that's what we're trying to find out right there, that angle, should add up to 180. So the way that we can solve that is we can add together 29 plus 108. So what's 29 plus 108? It is 137 plus X equals 180. Well, we're adding 137 to X, so we can need to subtract 137 from each side. That zeroes out. We get X equals, borrow from the 8, 10, 3, 7 minus 3 is 4, 43 degrees. And we want to check that and make sure that our answer is correct. So we have 29 plus 108 plus 43 equals 180. So those two together, we know adds up to 137. 107 plus, why did I put a 1 there? Plus 43 does equal 180. So our answer is correct. Alright, let's try two more. So these are a little bit more complicated, but the answer is still the same. So since these sides are congruent, that means that the angles across from them are congruent. So that's 2x as well. Okay. So this is an isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, you have two sides that are the same, two angles that are the same. So we know that 2x plus 2x plus 65 equals 180. Well, combine like things, we have 2x, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the highlighter. 2x plus 2x. If I have 2 Kit Kats, I add another 2 Kit Kats. I get 4 Kit Kats. Plus 65 should equal 180. Subtract 65 from each side. Now we have those two-step equations that we now love. We get 115. And we can divide that by 4. Gonna come over here and divide 115 by 4. So we get 2. 2 times 8 is 8. 35. 4 goes in 35 8 times. Times 4 is 32. So it's 32. We get 30. I'm running out of space. That's not good. 4 goes into 37 times 7 times 4 is 28. We get 20 now. I'm running out of spot. Alright, so after all that divides out, we get 28.4 or 28.75 degrees. And we want to check and make sure that that is correct. So I want to check up here. So I have 2 times 28.75 plus 2 times 28.75. And I would probably write this a little smaller. Plus 65 equals 180, because I have to write it big because my iPad's not that small. 28.75 is 57.5 plus 57.5 plus 65 equals 180. 57.5 plus 57.5 is 115 plus 65. Does that equal 180? It does. Okay. We're going to skip over number 4. So now we're going to talk about vertical angles, complementary angles, and supplementary angles. So the way I'm going to start with supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are straight lines. So supplementary angles add up to a straight line. Well, straight lines equal 180 degrees. Complementary angles add up to a right angle. Well, a right angle, if he compliments you, he's right. Get it? Like, if your partner compliments you, they're right for you. That's how I always remembered it. Right is 90 degrees. So that's the way I would remember complementary, supplementary. I also remember that complementary is before S in the alphabet. So you have 90 degrees for complementary, and supplementary is 180 degrees. Most of the times when you're finding missing angles, it either adds up to 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 360 degrees. Well, in 7th grade, we don't learn anything that adds up to 360 degrees. So it's really deciding, is it 90 degrees or 180 degrees? So triangles and straight lines add up to 180. Right angles, complementary, add up to 90. Then we have these things called vertical angles. So vertical angles are like angle 2 and angle 4. That's a pair of vertical angles. So they're right on top of each other. And number 3 and number 1. And if you were to rotate this, it would be 3 over 1. And so they would be on top of each other. So there'd be vertical angles that are on top of each other. So vertical means up and down. So vertical angles are just the same measure, which pretty much means, let me redo all this. If 2 was 100 degrees, 4 would be 100 degrees. So since this is a straight line, 3 and 2 have to add up to 180, which means 3 would be 80 degrees. Well, since 3 is 80 degrees, what is 1? 80 degrees. So vertical angles are just those angles that are across from each other. So let's look at number 6. We have A plus B. 50 plus 40. 50 degrees plus 40 degrees is 90 degrees, which makes it complementary. I might have spelled complementary, but it's okay. Then we have C plus D, so we have 155 degrees plus 25 degrees. That equals 180. Well, 180 is a straight line, and it's supplementary. Straight line, supplementary. Then we have A equals B and C equals D. Well, that's vertical angles. They're up and down from each other. Vertical. So let's do a few examples on this. So we have these two angles. They're vertical. They're up and down. We have x plus 30, which means they're equal. So we have x plus 30 equals 110. We subtract 30. We get x equals 80. So x equals 80 degrees. And number 8, they form a right angle, so that means they add up to 90 degrees. So 2x plus 7 plus 43 equals 90 degrees. You just add everything up. Well, 7 and 43 is 50. So we have 2x plus 50 equals 90. We can subtract 50. We have our two-step equation here, which we now hopefully love. 90 minus 50 is 40. We have 2 times x, so divide by 2. Divide by 2. We get x equals 20 degrees. Then we have number 9. So number 9 forms a straight line, which means it's supplementary. Straight lines add up to 180 degrees. So we know that 5x plus 150 equals 180. So we're going to subtract 150 first. And I would just like to point out how much smaller an angle that is. So it will be a way smaller number. So we get 30 equals 5x. Divide by 5. X equals, and I don't know why my 30 is ugly. It's supposed to be 30. There we go. So x equals 6. So this angle measures 30 degrees. Well, 5x equals 30. So x has to be 6 degrees. So you're not technically finding the angle measure in this one. You're just finding what x is equal to. But we know that since that angle is 150, that this angle had to be the rest between 150 and 80, which is 30 degrees, which would make x 6.